Hi, I'm John Harlow here with Randy Gray and Cindy Kirk. We're at the Skowhegan Recycling and Solid Waste Facility. Today Randy and Cindy are going to be showing us around their place and what they do here.
So I'm Randy Gray, as John just said, and Cindy, of course, you can introduce herself as well in a moment. But what I'd like to do is tour you through the facility to give you an idea of what we do. Because keep in mind, everything we do in this saves money on the opposite side, which is our trash end. So every ton recycled here saves us about $70, plus makes us about $200 on the recycling end. So you know, a gross savings of $300 per ton or so. So it's crucial that we recycle, and you'll see that as we tour through the facility.
How many tons go through here?
Oh my goodness, it's got to be, we just did our reports, we got to be in the 500 ton range, somewhere near. Yep. We ship out 43 ton, about 43 ton per load. Wow. And so a load at least once a month and usually every 3 weeks. So yeah, about 580 ton a year or so. Cool. A lot of money, a lot of time. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Al White, work for the town of Skowhegan. This is where we get our cardboard in. It comes into the floor from the people or from outside. We dump the bins. We put it right into this pile here. The packer trucks back up and they dump it out. Sometimes they dump outside. We push it in with the machine. We get it all in a pile. We have a clamp we put on the forklift sometimes. And we separate it out here from when we pick it up. We got to separate out the mixed paper and the cardboard. The cardboard we're doing right now. The mixed paper we put in here. We have a trash can over there next to him. We just got to separate it out. The mixed paper is a different stuff. It's flat. There's nothing to it. There's no layers to it. Corrugated. It's got layers inside. You can see the multiple layers in there. That's what we're baling in here. You got to sort out all the trash and check all your boxes. Take everything out of there that doesn't belong. Because the more we separate it, the better the price is.
Jeffrey, J-E-F-F-R-E-Y.
Fire up.
Fire up. Introduce.
No, I'm Clyde Merrill, and I'm help Al with here doing corrugated to keep the floor clean. Be a couple packer truck loads coming in today, so we're gonna get it caught up. Ready, Al? Fire up.
I don't know if there's enough solid here to pump a bit or not, but we can run it around the other side near the start of it. I can take you around there when you're ready. Okay, as you can see, we got here the OCC, which is cardboard, just so you know the proper name for that. On the end of the machine, you can see where the bale's actually being made. So as it goes up the ramp, it dumps into a hopper. The hopper actually pushes forward. There's another ram that pushes forward, and it compacts it in the end. And then when it's complete, the guys actually tie that with wires. And if you want to just scale around this direction, if you can see a finished product of what the OCC looks like. Now, one thing about my operation, I think you folks, everyone should know, is that you can see it's a little bit labor intense, but it's so clean. As Al explained to you and Clyde explained to you, we hand pick all the mixed paper out or anything else that doesn't belong in the cardboard, and that isn't to say that that's not recycled. The mixed paper is recycled in a separate bale after in the same baler. So everything's being reused that we can up here, or baled or recycled.
Once they're done compacting and get a full bale, this is what they actually look like once they tie them off with the wire. Each one of these bales weighs between 1,400 and 1,500 pounds. Once we've accumulated around 40,000 pounds, then we will call out and our marketing company will come pick it up and they actually market the product for us. Over here, as Al had mentioned, they separate out all the mixed paper that comes in with the cardboard. This is actually a bale of mixed paper and office paper together. We're able to combine those together. These weigh roughly around 1,800 pounds. And again, once we get a big enough load, then we call our marketer and they'll come in and ship it off for us and sell it for us. So both of these, the prices are really good right now. And our material is so clean because it is all hand sorted that we have no problem finding a buyer for it.
Hello, my name is Steve Foss. I work at the Skowhegan Recycling Center. And we do magazines and newspapers here. We usually take by mixing newspaper with magazines so that we don't have an abundance of either left over. We try to, the ration is probably 40-60 mix sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. We take by putting it in the baler and stacking it correctly so it comes up so that when you open the door it don't come out so that we can tie it off. And I think that's about it as far as that goes. We'd like to have a bale to show you, but we loaded them all. And we transport this stuff down to Huhtamaki, where they recycle it locally and make it into paper plates and cup holders and things like that of that nature. And we mix it with a 40 to 60% newspaper. The magazines is 40%, newspaper is 60%. And usually when we finish the bales, they're about a ton a piece for the most part. Sometimes they're a little more, sometimes they're a little less. If you'd like to see how the mixture is made, I can show you by putting some in right now. I try to layer it in so that it goes around to make it concave, and then bring it all the way up and then tip it forward a little bit and then tip it back so that all the back pressure is into the back of the bale so that it won't, when you open the door, sometimes it tends to want to come out, and which is not a good thing because then you have to pick it up. And here's the magazines that we use. I layer the corners first and around to the sides so that the bale comes out evenly and nicely. And then we tie it off and put it away. Oh, we weigh it first.
So in this station we actually recycle mixed paper and office paper as well. This is the product that comes in from the general public, as you can see. And there's many books and magazines, hard-covered ones. And if we scan over this way just a little bit, we have a volunteer working with us today that's actually ripping our books because we can't put them in with the binders, obviously, through the balers. And he rips. It's labor intense, but we're very lucky to have him as a volunteer doing some of our labor for us. And so this gets turned right into our mixed paper, and you've already seen that being recycled. But without this process being done first, then we wouldn't get nearly as clean product as we end up with. So it's a crucial part of our operation, and our volunteers are a crucial part of our operation. Okay, we're now at our plastic recycling area. This is where we take in all the different types of plastics, the ones and the twos. I'm going to let Al explain how they sort through these and how they recycle them, because the money is so much different for ones than twos, and you can't recycle all ones and twos no matter what you want to do. The market allows for some to be recycled at some time and not at others, especially the PETE, which is the #1 plastics. But I'll let Al explain that. We actually use a vertical baler to bale these and not a horizontal. Makes a better bale, a more consistent bale, and it's easier for the guys to sort. do that. So I'll let Al take it from here.
So we have bins outside. The public drops into the bins. We bring them in here, and they're all mixed together. And we separate them out. We have our colored number 2, which is laundry detergent, milk containers, you know, the ones with the darker color texture. We have to sort out the trash, oil containers and covers. We don't do them. So this container right here is natural. We call it natural. It's mostly milk, water, Kool-Aid based stuff. They make it back into Tyvek soups, and they make it back into milk jugs. When we just got to make sure there's a number 2 on the bottom of it. Sometimes they're really hard to see. Sometimes they're really easy to see. And then this one here is number 1, PETE. We can do multiple colors as long as they're translucent. We can see through them. And we separate these. These goes into fleece. They go into shirts. They go into sneakers. They go into a variety of different things. They stretch the fibers right out. We don't have to take the covers off because they want some of the covers. Doesn't matter if they're blue or green or orange as long as we can see through them. And then we have the colored number 1s. The colored ones here, we put in the baler. And we sort out the other one. We take out the trash. Clamshells are trash. They're a different type of the PET. They melt differently, so you can't do that because there's a different melting point and it clogs the things with these ones, so they can't make the fleece out of it. There is a market somewhere that does it. We just don't do them yet. Anything 3 through 7, we have to throw away. Oil jugs, petroleum products, we have to throw them away. Any colored number 1 that you can't see through, we have to throw away.
So there's sort of a lot to know.
Yes, there is. We used to have to take the covers off, but we don't have to anymore because the type of plastic, they want to recycle it with the other plastic. Kind of gives it a little bit of grit, I guess. Number 1 containers. The ketchup bottles, they have a PVC layer in between them. We don't do the ketchup bottles. There is a small market somewhere else. We just haven't got to it yet. If you don't know if it's recyclable or not, look for the 1 and 2. If it doesn't have a 1 and a 2, we don't recycle it.
And 2 people use for, it's like food safe, right? If you're collecting maple syrup or anything else.
These would be for food safe, yes,
number
because
2.
they're already food material.
Yep.
But with the colored ones, you never know. You could have Miracle-Gro, you could have other things in there that probably shouldn't be mixed with the food stuff. See, that one's a colored number 1. We can't see through that. And that's number 2. It's almost the same. The good thing about this, if we're not using it, we can actually hold it down and let it squish for a little bit so it stays compacted. It will automatically come back up, but we just offered to keep it compacted. This is a full bale of number 2 colored plastic. It's already been weighed, and we just wire it up after it's all done. There's a light that comes on one baler, and we usually put it up to the gate so there's a little bit of expansion because plastic is really expandable, and if you don't leave the expansion in it, it will break some wires and makes a mess. And then in behind that is a peat bale that we do in the horizontal baler. And we have a couple of them left over that didn't go on the last plastic truck. We usually send out a load of plastic every year, about 25 or so bales. That colored bale weighs 1,000 pounds. And the number 1 bale is around 800 to 950 pounds.
This is our waste oil facility where we burn our waste oil and we heat this building with it year round, about for the winter. We burn about 2,500 to 2,800 gallons a season. We get the oil from the public, brings it in, and Pittsfield actually collects it for us also. And so we put it in this tank first, separate the water, and then it goes in this tank, and then goes back in, then it goes into the furnace. And that's how we heat the place.
And what kind of oil is it?
That burns all any kind of petroleum but gas.
Clyde, name a few things.
Brake fluid, hydraulic fluid, transmission fluid, of course motor oil. But what it'll burn. Does a good job at it too. We've had this one for 7 years, I think. And we have the people come in and clean it once a year, and that's about all they do to it.
Here we're at the exterior part of the recycling center itself, so we make it as convenient as possible for people to recycle. So this is open during the summer months. We open in April, and we usually close the first part of November, depending on the weather that we're having at the time. But you can see we can take about any product that you have here, and from mixed paper to magazines, up through to newspaper, and of course our OCC, which is our cardboard, as we explained. So anyone coming in that doesn't want to go inside the recycling center can do their recycling outside. And it's crucial to get a point in here. Anybody from any town can bring their recycling product to us and use this outside facility. They do not need a transfer station sticker to do that. We'll welcome their recycling material. The idea is to take this product out of the landfills and reuse it as much as possible. And this is what the outside recycling center does for us. This was actually an idea of a previous town manager. It's been put in place for about 10 years now, I'd say, and it's worked phenomenal for us. So here's where we do the outside plastic recycling. Actually, it's where the product comes in. And I just want to make it very clear that people do not have to sort their plastics. Bring their ones and their twos in together. We'll do the separation here. We don't want to have it complicated so you get discouraged on your recycling at home, or that you have 15 different containers. Bring it in, we'll do the labor. We don't mind. We have a good, competent crew here, as you've seen, and that will encourage you to bring the plastics to us way more than you would if you had so many containers at home. So.
This is our paint care program. We take old used paint that nobody can do anything with, and we put it in a container, and we put it in a cube. Town of Skowhegan can bring 5 gallons per day for here. Quinn's Hardware and Sherwin-Williams can take it from other towns, 5 gallons a day, but we're only licensed for Skowhegan residents here. And when we fill the cube up, it's a 3 by 3 by 3 cube. We put so many gallons in there at a time, and we weigh it out to see how much paint we have. We call the company, they'll come in and bring empty containers and grab our full ones in the same day. And they do multiple stops, so they usually don't have a problem picking them up one pallet at a time.
And Al, how many gallons of paint approximately can you put into one of your shipping boxes?
Depends on the size of the container, because you have your small cans and your really small cans and the 5 gallon buckets. It all depends on the space. You could probably put upwards of 100 gallons in there, I would say, because you can get a 5 by 5 row on the bottom, 4 layers. Yeah, it's about 100. Depends on what the size of it is. Then you can use your small ones to top it off. And then when you're done, you just pull the plastic up over, and then get the other side. There's cardboard there, and then tie it off like this so it's ready to go. You can't have it leaking. You can't have it open container. You can't have it, so you can't read the label. The label has to be clean and noticeable so we can recycle it properly. Because what we don't take in our program goes to the hazardous waste collection day that can be set up through different towns on certain days, or the environmental depot down in Lewiston, just off the interstate about a mile. First and third Saturday. This is our light bulb station. We collect the fluorescent light bulbs. We have our 8-foot boxes and our 4-foot boxes. We collect them, they're $1 a piece, no matter what size they are. Quinn's Hybrid does take them for nothing. They're a distributor. We're just a consolidator, so we collect it. And we call North Coast when they come and get our TVs, when the pallets are full. When the truck is full, they'll come grab our boxes of finished light bulbs. We have to date the boxes when they start. We have to tape them up when we're done and get a count on them so they know exactly how much we have.
So I thought this was a crucial part of the program, a part of the program that I'm very proud of, and proud of my staff as well. Al really is our lead person on our compost program. Town of Skowhegan did win Compost of the Year award 3 years ago, which was an extremely nice award that was presented by MRRA. So I'll give Al full credit for running our program out here, and he can really explain when the product comes in and how he composts it and the mixture that he uses.
Well, it's not just me. Steve helps sometimes too.
Of course.
When the highway brings in their leaves, because they pick up the leaves around town, they drop it off in the pile over there, and then we call to get some chicken manure delivered. We have horse manure delivered from local farms, and we mix it up with the wood chips that the highway department goes around and collects from the brush and chips around the area also. So we put the chips in there, then we put the brown material, which is your leaf waste, then your green material, which is your nitrogen from your chicken manure, and we add the horse manure, then top it off with the leaves, and then we'll let it sit, and then we roll it when we take the temperature. If it's too hot, too cold, too wet, we got to roll it. We roll it over, and then towards the end of June, hopefully we'll be able to screen another load. We screen out 900 yards per year, and the highway uses it on the roadside. The rec department uses it in fields, and they mix it with a little bit of loam to help with erosion control. And usually there's a pile that goes back to the public, and there's a pile at the highway department that the public grabs from Skowhegan, and we just give it back to the community because it's the right thing to do.
So the public can come and they can get compost for their garden
Yeah.
or whatever they want to use it for. And so you were saying brown and green material, and that's carbon and nitrogen. So like how many parts? What's the ratio?
60-40. 60 carbon, 40 nitrogen.
And the carbon is your the brown, like the brown, the leaves.
The leaves. The horse manure
Wood
does
chips.
have a lot of brown, but it's also got some green in it too. The chicken manure is really nitrogen.
Yep.
It's really green. Plus in the fall when you clean up your garden, all your garden vines, your garden waste, that's really good material. And we have a public place over on the other side that we put everything together and then bring it over here and mix it. And the pile from the public is already active because all the green material that's there. And when we add it to the leaf material, which is not so active, it heats up the pile a little bit so the process works better.
How long does it take when you put in those materials for them all to break down and to make usable compost?
Depends on the temperature, depends on the weather. When you get winter time until middle of April, you really can't do very much of that.
But it still does.
It still works, yeah. It's just a slower process. It takes about 5 to 6 months to do the whole process. So we usually do it once a year. Sometimes we can do it twice a year. Depends on the weather and the heat and the material, because you can't get out here really too much if it's muddy or anything like that.
Now, from what I know about like just composting at home, it's the worms that eat like the leaves, and then when they poop it out, it makes the
compost. Yeah, that's a different type of process.
Okay.
It's a slower process.
Yeah.
If you have worms in the pile, it's not as hot, not as active as it's supposed to be. The temperature should actually be between 150 and 170 to get the regular amount of bacteria in there, because bacteria will live underneath a certain amount and more of a certain amount, but the ideal is 1,000 is that level. So there's probably like a couple hundred underneath and a couple hundred above, because they're just like people in Maine weather, you don't like the temperature change.
Right. You said you went to school for composting school?
Yeah, they have a compost school usually in June and October. It's a week-long composting thing. They do the ins and outs and how to mix it, and I believe DEP puts it on. How to mix it, when to process it, what to do with it, how to cure it, and how long it's going to set for curing, because you don't want to put it on too quick, because it'll kill the plants off if it's too hot. And they'll tour other facilities. Actually, they toured here last year. and see on the different processes and how it works, because different processes work in different areas, different vessels, different materials and stuff like that. Depends on what they bring in.
And this is specifically separate from the public bringing in their food scraps?
Yes.
Okay. And now, I guess we can ask those questions there, but is there, like, can people put in meat in their compost when they bring it in?
They can. We don't necessarily recommend it because we're only a smaller outfit. Maybe the bigger outfit probably could, and all that's left would be the bone, so we could screen that out, but we don't recommend the meat and dairy and stuff like that. That attracts the other animals.
We really don't want the meat.
No.
And we really don't want the dairy product like milk and half and halves and stuff
Right.
like that, because it just calls for critters to come into your
doesn't
pile, and
really-
you don't want that. And it really doesn't
Add anything.
It really
to
doesn't add to the compost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good
Right.
for pig food.
Yeah.
It's great pig food, great animal food. Yep.
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 This is the public's pile. As they come around the corner, this is one of the first piles they see. The public drops off their leaves. When they cut the grass, they bring it up. Anything from the garden, any plants that they trim, lawn rakings and stuff like that. We prefer just the grass and the leaves from the lawn rakings. We don't like the rocks and the big sticks like that.
So you don't want the logs and stuff, but those eventually, they do break down, and those would be a brown material.
Yeah, those would be a brown material. They do eventually break down, but it's a slower process. You know, like when the trees are out in the woods, you leave them out there long enough, and eventually they'll rot and decay. But if you look at the certain size trees, it takes a long time for them to get down. The only ones we recommend putting in this pile would be no bigger than your pinky, no longer than a foot. It does help with aeration because you also need air control in the compost, because without air getting in there, the bacteria can't breathe, so it just kind of collapses on the pile and it doesn't work very good.
And that's why you rotate it?
Yep.
And what do you
air it
use
out.
to rotate? What it's like?
Front end loader usually.
Yep. And do people put in like fish shells and stuff like that? Speaking of things that don't break down easily.
Fish shells, I don't know if it's in their bucket. We haven't really noticed it. We don't monitor it that much. We just make sure try to pick out the trash as we go.
Yep.
We don't monitor the fish shells.
I only ask because it's one of those things that takes a long time.
There is
to break
lobsters.
down.
There's a company that does lobster composting with stuff like that. But if it's a really hard shell, like peanut shells, those will compost. Pistachio shells, not so much. But if it's a really hard encased shell, it doesn't compost very well.
Yeah.
A lot of it just helps with the aeration until we screen it out.
Yep. And so anybody can, from their house, they could have a bucket of all food scraps and drop it off here.
Yep.
Keep it out of the landfill.
Right.
Here's somebody now. We're here with somebody who's dropping off their food, or their leaves and. Yeah.
Kind of wet. I don't know if it's gonna come out. I got some brush in there. I gotta take out.
Some rocks, which they don't like to do.
Come out.
Not really.
It's wet from yesterday. This is our food scrap bin where the public brings the material in, and we have a screen on the bottom, and it's got an aeration system that helps the air come up through, and we have a drain in the back, so whenever the water comes out, we just kind of dump it all back in there.
And you mix in sawdust a little bit to kind of
Yeah, that's
cool it off a little
That's
bit.
the brown material.
Yep.
Then you got your green material, so you layer it in layers as you go. We just dumped this in November, and it was probably 600 or 700 pounds. So it's probably 3/4 of the way that we can fill it up. And you can see there's some compostable bags in there, some eggshells. And look at that, the grass is even
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah. Now does it? Is there a screen in there? Where does it come out?
There's a screen on the bottom. The way we take it out is we have to dump it. So we have to take off the electric motor that's aerating right now and the board. Take this cover off, and then we'll dump it. And usually when we dump it, 3/4 of it is pretty well composted, so there's not much left to it. It's all already composted. So we put it into that pile for the public afterwards,
Yeah.
and then bring it over there to help with that.
Yeah. And it's nice and ripe now.
It is.
Hi, I'm James Travers at Skowhegan Transfer Station, and here we recycle appliances, and our major appliances we have Freon removed, and when people bring them in we have to take the doors off and check them for mercury switches, because we also recycle mercury devices like thermostats and certain batteries we take that have mercury in them, and all that gets shipped to our recyclers and they all take care of that for us.
I'm Wayne Householder, and we also dispose of TVs, VCRs. We wrap them up, we separate them all out. Scanners and fax machines will go all in a different pile. The CRTs will go in a different pile. We'll wrap them, we'll ship them to a company, we'll take out all the electronics, all the circuit boards, all the mercury on the screens, and all the VCR stuff will go to a separate company, and they will also take out all the electronics and recycle the plastic.
Another thing here at the transfer station is when we have TVs come in, we have to actually wrap them and put them on a pallet and get them ready to ship to our recycler that comes and picks them up. Probably every 3 months or so we have a load go out, which is 12 pallets on one truck. And we also box printers and all small electronics, which actually go in a big corrugated box.
With the tires, we also recycle. They get recycled. Many of them will go to SAPI and also be burned for fuel. Hi. We also recycle all the jars, bricks, toilets. Once we get ready, we'll haul them to taxpayers' homes who would like some free fill, and they can fill in big holes, save them a lot of money. Instead of buying all gravel, they can use this stuff here to fill in a nice big hole and put some gravel, loam over the top of it. Recycling is very important. As much recycling as we can keep out of here, the more money we will save. It costs us $68 roughly a ton to dispose of this, when it can go in the recycling building and make us money and keep it out of the landfill. One day the landfills are going to be filled. Then what are we going to do with it? We can do a lot more with recycling than we can with trash.
So this is steel and metal recycling station. When this comes in, we mix this with any type of clean metal, or any type of metal at all. We send it to Grummel's Industries, where they recycle it and reuse it for new product. Also, it's crucial to mention, or to mention, that we have a tin can container across our parking lot here. Those tin cans also get shipped down to Grummel's and get recycled as well into metal. And the town gets paid a fair amount of money for metal right now. It's into the $160+ per ton. So it's crucial that we recycle our metals and keep it out of our waste streams as well. Okay, here we're at the Wood Recycling Center. We actually take clean wood and brush, and we bring that into this concrete pad, and we have this chipped either once or twice a year. The disposal fee on this is about $30 a ton versus the $68 a ton we pay for household trash. So the more we can recycle our clean woods, the better off it is for the taxpayers. And if you look over to the left just a little bit, you can see the chipped wood. All this gets burned for fuels at different facilities throughout the state of Maine. Depends on where the market is. So that is so much cheaper. So the clean brush, the wood comes in here, gets turned into chips, and we burn all that for fuel. So end product is we recycle that as well.
All right, so now we've seen the whole facility here. It's a really informative and cool process. Randy, Cindy, and Al, thank you for having us. And any last things you'd like to mention?
Yep, if I could, we do have an open house, which everyone is invited to. We'll have a compost school that day. We'll have a recycling school that day. We'll have a bunch of pre-made bales outside, and we'll have some fun guessing games for the public that comes in. They can guess the weights on these things. We'll have some free giveaways, some free gifts, and that will be on the 13th of this month, so a week from Saturday. So I hope we get a good attendance on that. It's crucial to learn how to recycle, how easy it is to recycle, how easy it is to compost, how easy it is to bring your food scraps into our facility, and we try to make this as user-friendly as absolutely possible. And my staff, I'm very proud of. Cindy, being my lead person here, obviously. She's extremely knowledgeable. She'll help you out in any way you can, so please call us at 474-6904 with any of your questions, or call my staff up here at 474-6918. So I hope you've enjoyed our program today. We're very proud of our facility. We're taking your trash and making dollars with it. So the more you recycle, the more you save as taxpayers. So help us out. And thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.